Good morning, my friends. I'm here again, continuing our 10th episode on our series on the mystery of death. So, before I start, I just want to make sure that you can all see me clearly, that you can hear me, that the sound quality is good. I have a new microphone for you, and everything seems to be working. Finally, it took us a long time. So let me know if you can hear me clearly and also see me clearly. Hi, Carolyn from Ireland. Carmen Fox, how are you? Kathleen, she likes the beard. Lisa Russo, good morning. Julia Rodriguez, good morning. Fernando, good morning. And Trish, good morning. Vicky, good morning. Anna, good morning. Kirti, good morning. Ingrid, good morning. Where are the guys? Wendy, good morning. Sankash Bhardwaj, good. Yes, Sankash, I did upgrade my microphone. And Lolinda is saying sound is great. So that's great. I'm ready to start. So today's theme is actually an ongoing progression of what we've already talked about. I'm just adjusting the microphone a bit. So it's something we've already talked about, but it's an extension of that. So what I'm saying today, and we'll follow this very carefully, slowly, because we have all the time in the world. In fact, we have eternity. But I will very carefully unravel with you the scientific understanding of creation, destruction, identity, etc., and then go a little bit into the spiritual understanding and see how the two actually correspond to each other to a great extent. But before we do that, I want to also say that science and spirituality are trying to understand reality using different methodologies. And both science and philosophy create maps of reality, models of reality, constructs of reality, but only experience can tell you what reality is. Okay? So, be that as it may, let's look at fundamental theme of today, which is that birth, death, and life are changes of state, but not of identity. On a very simplistic level, look at water. And water changes its state all the time. Steam, vapor, ice, water, rainbow, puddle, stream, ocean, pond, on and on. It's constantly changing its state. Clouds, but it's still water. Okay, even at the ocean is so many things. It's waves that come and go, arise and subside. But even as the wave arises, it is water. Before arising, it is water. As a wave, it is water. And on the subsiding, it is water. So water doesn't change its identity. Water changes its state. So too, you are constantly changing your state, but you're not changing your identity. Eternally now. That's a summary. But now let's go into the scientific, current scientific model. So according to the current scientific model, the universe began approximately 14 billion years, give or take a few billion years, plus minus. Some people say 13.8 billion years ago, the universe began. Let's call that time zero. Okay, time zero. The universe began. no cause can be ascribed to this beginning, which is often referred to as the Big Bang. Why cannot a scientific cause be ascribed to the Big Bang? A scientific cause cannot be ascribed for the Big Bang because prior to time zero, or even a little bit after time zero, there were no laws of physics and there was no space-time. Now, this has led scientists to conclude that the universe and the Big Bang have no cause, a cause, without cause. The Big Bang is without cause, which in the scientific framework says basically that existence is without cause. Existence is without cause. Now, if you think about this a little bit, you'll see that anything without cause must have existed forever. We can say that manifest existence began 14 billion years ago from the point of view of a human biological organism on a speck of dust called planet Earth, which is one planet amongst trillions of planets, which are going around what science says 700 sextillion stars, 700 sextillion stars, and 2 trillion galaxies just in our own universe. So the Big Bang is a construct, a human construct by a biological organism, literally the equivalent of less than COVID-19 or any virus on a speck of dust, a grain in all the beaches that you can imagine, one grain, and the biological organism that we call human is not even the size of a virus on that speck of dust. When we think of the magnitude of what we call the universe. 2 trillion galaxies, 700 sextillion stars, uncountable trillions of planets, a microorganism on one speck in the junkyard of infinity. Speaking about the beginning of the universe, the creation of the universe, how can a human biological organism figure out the beginning of the universe? And right now, the scientific conclusion is that there are infinite universes, possibly. So here we are, positing a beginning that in a sense had no beginning. And not only are we positing it, but we are saying it had no cause. And if you ask scientists, what was the location of the Big Bang? They'll say it was everywhere, because the cosmic microwave background, which is the early radiation emitted from the universe, which we can now see it, through telescopes and all kinds of radio telescopes. We can see the birth, literally, of the universe, at least back to up to 400,000 years after the Big Bang. But this radiation is coming to us from all sides, because if you ask scientists, what is the location of the Big Bang? They say it occurred everywhere. What was the cause? No cause can be ascribed to it, but it occurred everywhere. And when did it occur? Well, 13.8 billion years ago, from the point of view of this biological organism on planet Earth, a speck of dust in the junkyard of infinity. So time measured as a human construct by a biological organism called Homo sapiens says began 13.8 billion years ago. But since no location can be ascribed to the Big Bang, in fact, the Big Bang could all of time, all of space as well. Now, this can be explained through mathematical equations and also observations through radio telescopes. But it's pretty wild. It happened everywhere, it had no cause, and it contained all time. Pretty wild, right? Now, let's go a little further in this explanation. There's a period called the Planck Epoch that cosmologists identify. It's 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds. 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds post time zero. And this Planck epoch, there are no laws of physics. There is no space-time. What is there? We don't know, and we will never know. Okay, because we can only know things that are manifest. The Planck epoch has no manifest availability as an observation, or what happened even as a thought. There's another period in cosmology, frequently referred to as cosmic inflation, when from 10 to the power of minus 35 seconds post time zero to 10 to the power of minus 32 seconds post time zero, the universe tripled in size every trillionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second. So from nothing to a dot to the size of possibly a grapefruit, that period is called cosmic inflation. Very precise. And then it slowed down and expanded, continued to expand, so that now the cosmic horizon is 48 billion years from where you and I are sitting. 48 billion years. Even though the universe is only 13.8 billion years from a human perspective, only 13.8 billion years, but the cosmic horizon is 48 billion years away from us, because the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. And what is expanding is the space between galaxies due to a theoretical energy called dark energy. It's the opposite of gravity. No one knows what it is, but the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. So what is that? We don't know, but that's the history of the universe up to this now, up to this moment. In between, there's lots of things happening. So around 400,000 years post Big Bang, stars started to form, and then there was all kinds of things, things like nuclear fusion, the creation of atoms, and on. And our particular solar system is probably only a few billion years, much less than the 14 billion years. The Earth itself is supposed to be about 5 billion years, give or take half a billion years in age from a human perspective. Life is supposed to have begun, according to this scientific perspective, about 3.5 billion years ago. Life, as we know it, from this scientific perspective, is supposed to have begun 3.5 billion years ago. And the first biological organisms are referred to as chemolitho-autotrophic hyperthermophiles. So the first biological organisms, once again, are referred to as chemolitho-autotrophic hyperthermophiles. Chemo means chemical. Litho, on the rims of volcanoes, rocks. Autotrophic, they already knew how to replicate and propagate, multiply. Chemolitho-autotrophic hyperthermophiles, they loved the high temperatures on the rims of volcanoes. These are our ancestors. And from there, everything else follows. Rumi says, I was a mineral, I was a plant, I was an animal, I was a human. Now I'm asking, who am I? Okay. That's the history of the universe as we know it, according to the current scientific framework, which is based on what we call empirical evidence, observations, experiments, and then scientific theories. The scientific story of creation. The scientific story of creation. According to this scientific story, human beings have been around only for 200,000 years as Homo sapiens. We don't know the origins of oral language. Could be anywhere from 50,000 years ago or longer, but we don't know the origins of oral language. We do know the earliest evidence of oral language is from Sumeria, which is 3,500 BC, so approximately 5,000 years ago. And then there are other languages around the same time, from Sumeria, Egypt, Sanskrit, India, Greek, Mayan, Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic. These are the ancient Latin, the ancient oral languages, about 5,000 years. And then written language, believe it or not, is very recent. Written language is, we don't really know, but the earliest records are about 5,000 years from now. So once again, oral language 50,000, written language 5,000. These different periods of evolution, as far as humans are concerned, are referred to as the cognitive revolution, when we started to think, try to reflect, create language to communicate, oral and then written. Okay, then all kinds of languages, mathematical language, musical language, body language, emotional language, on and on. Very recent. Reflective self-inquiry, very recent. But anyway, the cognitive revolution is about 50,000 years. The so-called agricultural revolution is about 12,000 years. The industrial revolution is about 500 years. The scientific revolution, let's call it that, after the agricultural revolution. And then we have the big revolution about 100 years ago, where science took a deep dive into the nature of reality with Einstein's theories of general relativity and special relativity, and then 100 years ago, quantum revolution. Yesterday, by the way, I was speaking to Leonard Malortnow, with whom I wrote my book, War of the World Views. And that book came out because I was having a debate. I think it was 2012, so pretty long time ago. Or maybe later, but time is irrelevant in these cosmic scales. But Leonard was in the audience at Caltech, and I was debating Sam Harris and I was debating Michael Shermer, who are self-professed militant atheists, or they were anyway. They're still atheists, but I don't know if they call themselves militant anymore. Richard Dawkins does. But during the intermission, during that debate, physicist Leonard Malortnow got up and he said, I'm a co-author with Stephen Hawking on his book, Grand Design. And basically, you're full of shit, speaking to me. When you talk about quantum mechanics, it makes no sense. And that got a big laugh. And he then asked me, Leonard asked me, while I was on stage, what is consciousness? And I said to Leonard, consciousness is the superposition of infinite possibilities. And that got a big laugh too, because Leonard said, I know what superposition of possibilities is, but I don't, agree with you that that's consciousness. Anyway, that got a lot of attention, and I got a lot of ridicule as well. But we became friends, and we wrote our book together called War of the World Views, where we became friends but disagreed. Yesterday, I spoke to Leonard on the phone, and he said, I figured it out. The universe is a quantum computer. I have the math for it. And I said, quantum computer? The universe is a quantum computer. Is that superposition of all possibilities? And he said, yes. I said, do you remember our conversation, which started our friendship? And he did. But it was a very interesting closing of a story that began several years ago. The universe is a quantum computer, superposition of all possibilities. So anyway, some people are having connection problems, but most of you are feeling fine, right? Are you listening and seeing clearly? I mean, I've done everything, bought expensive microphones and computers so I can speak to you. But some of you are saying that the broadcast is interrupted. Please tell me if you can hear me, because if you can't, I need to correct this, okay? I need to correct this. So let me look at the microphone again and see if I can correct this, okay? So I'm using the camera, and now I want to correct the microphone, and I am unable to do that. It says broadcast is interrupted. So can I just see what is interrupting this broadcast? Your stereo microphone, it seems to be connected, my friends. So can you hear me? Please tell me if you can hear me. Yeah, some people are saying they can hear. Ramanand Dikshit, can you hear me? Can you hear me? A lot of people are saying not on our side. You are frozen. And this is interesting. So please tell me, can you hear me or not? Okay. Can you hear me yet? Natalie says, I can see and hear. So I'm going to continue, my friends. Okay, I'm going to just continue. Okay, so I was saying where we are in the history of cosmic evolution, according to the scientific model. Okay, but with all the gaps, no cause, don't know what happened in the Planck epoch, why did the cosmic inflation occur as it occurred, as precisely mathematically as it did, when life began, and how it evolved. And when did language come about, and our ability to reflect and communicate. So I've identified all these epochs for you. And right now we are here. Now let's go a little deeper. So the early elements of the universe are basically photons, the microwave radiation, which includes infrared, microwaves, radio waves, television waves. It also includes the other end of the spectrum, which is infrared. One end of the spectrum is infrared, microwaves, and radio waves. The other end of the spectrum is ultraviolet, X-rays, microwaves, cosmic rays. But this is all the microwave background. And visible light is, of course, from violet, indigo, blue, and so on, yellow, orange, and red, which gives us the experience of the perceptual world, very small bandwidth of availability to experience what is infinity, and based on that, all our conclusions about existence, which are pretty fragmented. But in any case, just look at the electromagnetic field, the three forces of nature that compose the electromagnetic field. When the unification of these forces occurred in the early Big Bang, and the electromagnetic field, which contains strong, weak interactions, electricity, magnetism, all of that, and pervades all of space-time, and photons are an expression of that. And so if you ask scientists, do all electrons have the same property? And the answer is yes. Do all protons have the same property? The answer is yes. Do all neutrons, are all neutrons exactly the same? The answer is yes. Are all particles exactly the same? The answer is yes. Are all photons exactly the same? Yes, but actually photons show different states. Red, blue, green. Blue has more energy, red has less energy. So photons can express themselves in different energetic states, but the same photons, okay? But if all photons are the same, all electrons are the same, all protons are the same, all neutrons are the same, and if that, and all gravity is the same, but different expressions of gravity depending on where you are in the cosmos, but all gravity is the same, all protons are the same, all electrons are the same, all neutrons are the same, all photons are the same, expressing themselves as different energetic states, ultimately resulting in different experiences, then who is to say that there is only one electron? They all are exactly the same. There's only one proton. There's only one neutron. All photons are the same energetic state. So they're all the one thing. Even gravity is one, experienced differently on planet Earth, in a spaceship, or wherever. Okay. So we can say that the universe never changed its identity. It just morphed into innumerable identities, or seemingly innumerable identities. Never changed its identity. It just morphed into different states of experience. Are you with me so far? This is the scientific paradigm. But now look at it from a spiritual perspective. This identity that never changes is called I am. And birth, life, and death are changes of state of I am. Your true identity, my true identity is I am. And Deepak Chopra is a changing identity. This has been changing ever since it was a fertilized ovum, and then the zygote, and an embryo, and an infant, and a toddler, and a baby, and a teenager, and an adult, and an older person, and then boom, gone. Okay. Changes of state happening to I am. So, I am is morphing itself into different experiences, and the ultimate I am, not the human I am, but the ultimate I am is morphing itself into states. And those states include minerals, atoms, molecules, force fields, galaxies, universes, planets, stars, from an objective, so objective modeling. But from a subjective understanding, I am is morphing itself into different states called sentient beings. And these include everything from viruses to bacteria to plants to animals to humans to primates and on and on. Why do you think that the changing of state is going to change? It's ceaseless and it's now. The change of state is happening right now. Quantum vacuum is present right now. Virtual particles are present right now. Virtual particles are emerging as real particles right now. Right now, particles are combining to form atoms and molecules and everything that we call matter from an objective point of view. From an objective point of view. But from a subjective point of view, you have change of state ceaseless in every microsecond. Change of state in emotions, change of state in thoughts, change of state in feelings, change of state in perceptions, change of state in ideas, change of state of your body, change of state of your breath. Every flicker of movement, every sigh, every breath, every idea is a change of state. And it's ceaseless and it's now. So what we call birth, death, life are all happening simultaneously now. All these changes of state are in superposition in the field of infinite possibilities right now. So I want to just see if I missed out anything from my notes. I was planning to give this lecture right now, or give this talk right now, and I was writing them some notes. So let me read some of my notes, just so we make this complete and I say everything I intended to say. So here's a note. It says light, same photons, but I read this somewhere that the blue part of the spectrum of light more energy than the red guys, but it's the same photon vibrating at different frequencies, and that's true of infrared, microwaves, ultraviolet, etc. I did mention the beginning of the early universe and all the details, and I am also saying, as I said before, that all states simultaneously exist. Since the Big Bang is an uncaused event, existence has always been. Existence is. Non-existence is not. Non-existence is potential existence, and existence is what we call actual existence, but it could be the other way around. The potential is the actual, and the actual is actually the potential right now, manifesting right now. Okay, that's more or less all my notes. Jeffrey Levin says, I am getting bored. So that's a good sign for me to stop. I don't want to bore you. And also, by the way, if you're getting bored, just press delete. And then you don't have to get bored. You can change your state instantly. Okay? Every state of being can be changed instantly. Boredom can be changed to joy instantly. But I think for now, this is enough. I am is my fundamental state. I am this, I am that, I am you, I am stars, I am galaxies, I am trees. I am is butterflying. I am is rocking. I am is imagining. I am is feeling. I am is thinking. I am is reflecting. I am is bored. So there we are. Death is a change of state, not of identity. It's our destiny to play an infinity of roles, but we are not the roles that we play. And all creation is now, all destruction is now, and all experience is now. Okay, so a lot of people say broadcast interruptions, but actually a lot of people say smooth interruptions. I will continue to explore the technology, but at the moment, this is what we have. Thank you.